So when you're using the pre-filled pods, if you experience any delay in spray, it's not quite spraying as efficiently as you would like to, maybe you think that more makeup should be coming out versus the air pressure that you're using, there are a couple of things to check. First of all, always check to make sure that your actual compressor is charged. If it is charged, then let's go ahead and move on to step 1 of troubleshooting. What we need to do is remove the pod, the pre-filled pod, from the TEMPTU Air. So don't forget to use this button on the side, push it in, gently crank down on the tip of the Airpod, and it separates very easily. There's no need to use extra force. Then you want to make sure that this plug is closed, okay? It's usually open during operation, but it's just kind of sitting there. You don't really need to do anything with it, but make sure it's tightly closed for what I'm about to show you. Then what we're going to do is make sure that that clear plastic loop is snapping back into position. So you want to hear that magic click. And then go ahead and shake it up really well. Make sure those mixing balls are moving around inside the pod. Now this might sound obvious, but also make sure the pod is not empty. If it's empty, you will really hear those mixing balls moving around. It will be very loud. It'll be a good indication it's time to purchase a new pod. Sometimes we get so busy, we forget to even check how much makeup's in the pod. All right, now that we've shaken it up, let's go ahead and unplug it again, attach it to the compressor. And again, since we've done a little manipulation to the pod, let's grab a tissue. And when we turn it on, let's make sure that it's aiming towards the tissue, because what I've done is I've loosened up a little extra material that could be stored in the needle chamber, and it's sprayed onto this tissue. So it's good that I wasn't facing me or a client when I did that. It should be spraying fine. Now that I pull back the trigger, I get a nice even spray pattern. If that doesn't happen, then we need to move on to step 2, which is going to be just a little bit extra. Go ahead and make sure it's off. Remove the pod, close the plug, and then we're gonna do a little back bubbling action with the pre-filled pod as well. But here's where it's really important to make sure that that plug is closed. If it's not closed, it could pull makeup backwards into this area of the TEMPTU Air and create a little bit of a mess. If that were to happen to you accidentally, please clean it out with a tissue as soon as you can, but do not put cleaner in there. We do not want cleaner leaking into the actual compressor. Now we're gonna go ahead and reattach the pre-filled pod with the plug closed onto the air. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on high. And I'm gonna go ahead and block the airflow where the needle is. And I'm gonna pull that soft touch control 3 times. And you'll already see that we were able to get clear spray pattern because you'll see product on the tissue. Shut it off, remove, unplug, reattach, and now it should be spraying fine, and it is.